and stuff.
Ta-da. This seems like a simple ingredient list, but we'll see how complicated it is to make, because I'm not super good at making meat. I grew up vegetarian, and it wasn't until later that I started learning how to make a lot of meat better. So what made you pick this recipe?
I'm listening. Well, let's see. I saw it on a cooking show. I think that's the answer to that question all the time. I saw it on a cooking show. Actually, no, my friend Flo, who is joining us from Germany today with his family, sent me, I don't know, an hour-long documentary on Oktoberfest, and somewhere along the way in the documentary, they were making this particular recipe. I thought, I've never had that one before, so here we are.
So I guess maybe a schnitzel, is a schnitzel just mean dipped in egg and flour and fried? Because
Yeah, essentially. So I doubled veg, and we're going to do some other fancy stuff today, but yes, we would call them here in the Midwest pork cutlets or minute steak for beef, but it's about the same, only thinner. The schnitzel is a lot thinner.
yeah, that was true. I went into the store and I was just like, there's pork cutlets and there's pork chops. Which one do I buy? And I looked at them and I was like, they look exactly the same.
Chili Davis is going to get us started on a cocktail though, because we can't do this without one.
That's right.
And I know while you're doing that, I'm going to introduce Flo. I can barely see you on my laptop. Flo and I met 15 years ago, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Something like that, yeah.
At a conference, and we immediately bonded over German food.
Yeah. So we're making a Radler. We have German beer. You can use a Pilsner, you can use an ale. We're using an ale today. And
Can
it's
you
sparkling.
pronounce the name of that beer? It's pretty long.
I can't, but
Flo can.
Yeah, show me again. I think it's a Weihenstephaner.
that sounds about right.
It's actually the oldest brewery in the world. Does it say that on there or not?
Yes, it does. The world's oldest brewery. The very
Well, the world's oldest that's still out there and operating, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, this continuous.
There you go.
that's
So
it.
that is sparkling lemonade, which we made earlier, which is just lemonade.
Lemonade
mix.
with some seltzer water.
Yeah, seltzer water.
That looks really light and refreshing.
It's a
It
summertime
is. It's
drink.
summertime
but
drink.
It was summertime here last week, so we're gonna go with it.
Just like what the temperature dropped, like 50 degrees in 1 week?
Something crazy.
Fahrenheit, yeah.
I put the name of it in the chat.
I missed that question, sorry.
I put the name of the Radler, how it is spelled, in the chat. It's actually called a Radler Maas. M-A-S, at the end of it, what's Bavarian to that.
So, all right.
We're gonna make a couple more because we're celebrating in the other room and have an in-studio audience.
Is that unusual?
Yeah.
You guys have a weekly every Monday night cooking.
We do.
Yep. And
So each Monday night, we cook live on
Facebook and YouTube.
Facebook and YouTube. And it started during the pandemic, and we just didn't quit because we love doing it. And right now we're kind of cooking our way around the US and exploring different food from different regional cuisine and cultures in the US. And a lot of it's been German.
and there's always a drink, right? Also,
we always start with the drink, hence this. Thank you. Today. So
They want it to come out there.
yes, they want at least one. Mom, do you want one? A little bit. So we're going to make two more as we get started here. So one of the reasons I wanted Flo to join me today is because we often, like on a weekly, sometimes daily basis, have conversations about food and how things are different between where he's at and has been. Flo, you can tell them all the places in Germany you've lived, but the differences in cuisine and how it has translated to the Midwest US. Where Chili and I live, we are largely Germanic in ancestry. And like 200 years ago, Germans settled this area. So we still very much have the culture, I'm trying to stay out of the way here, culture here, but as with any group of people that travel, things change, recipes change based on local ingredients and what you have available. So how we do things here in the Midwest is a little bit different than how Flo does things in Germany. Not a lot, I'll have to say, but that would be one of the fun comparisons today. So
Yeah, sometimes we realize things have changed over time and a little bit, but sometimes we still find things that are exactly the same still. And that's interesting. So I think 8 out of 10 times it's different, and 2 out of 10 times it's the same. And then, you know, like Nikki showed me some liver ring, like a liver sausage, and that looks exactly like it looks here in the shop. So I like that. Yesterday,
and we're eating it today.
Good, okay.
It's on a French charcuterie board right now, that German sausage. So yeah, a lot of things are the same. And when I've been in Germany and eating, you know, I sit down and I order something and it comes out from the kitchen in front of me, and I'm looking at it thinking, I grew up eating this. Liver and onions is one of those examples, and there's 3 of us in the room right now like liver and onions, but chili is not one of them. So.
No, I don't
So
like.
I had a similar experience. I just spent the month in Brazil, and I went to one state, Bahia, which is very much African American influence, and it was all the same food I grew up in the South. Black-eyed peas, collard greens, cornmeal mash. Their meat was a little different, but it was very interesting. I felt very nostalgic and flashback on the food I grew up in the South.
Yeah,
And
that's one of my favorite things about cooking and just food in general is seeing how that movement of food has happened, and all of it for the most part has moved into the United States some way, somehow.
well, we can have an argument later, but I would say what I consider the #1 American food is Chinese food. They've
necessarily gonna
incorporated
argue
every
that.
type of culture into it. If you go to a Chinese buffet, but that's an argument for another day.
In fact, we had that for lunch yesterday, and I sent that photo on to Flo, telling him that we were eating in our favorite Chinese restaurant for lunch.
And it did look good, and it looks a bit different to a Chinese restaurant in Germany, I must say. So you always have this local twist, don't you?
Yeah.
It looks a little bit different to a Chinese restaurant in China too.
Yeah.
So
Correct.
Significantly sweeter in the
So I'm very proud to, I want to show, what do you call it? I was able to get a horseradish. I thought I had one, but I was out. Look at this horseradish.
Look at that.
Ooh,
This is not something else. This is
Wow.
not like a golf club or a dried penis.
That is
some
important.
Asian food, but yeah, this was the only horseradish they had. And then I got a nice local cabbage. And then, of course, we have a lot of good local meat.
Mhm.
So I was able to get some good local meat, but all right.
pardon me for shushing my mother. She's demanding more beer already. Okay, so you have horseradish root. Do you have prepared horseradish by any stretch? I hope. And have you ever worked with a horseradish root? That's hard to say.
I have both, but I was unsure if I had a thing of horseradish because I tend to eat it pretty quickly.
Yeah, so do we.
I really like, it's one of those spices that I like putting on stuff. And so,
All right, I'm gonna slice up some lemon real fast for.
I don't see any already prepared. So
All right,
you have
so
horseradish powder.
that probably will be easier for you to use than the horseradish root because you'll need eye goggles, gloves, and vinegar for that root. Because once you start to grind it, it will
Oh,
burn
yeah.
your eyeballs.
Here we
So
go.
that's one of the things with horseradish root. We actually live, I don't know if you knew this, we live 2 hours away
Hour
from,
and a
yeah, so just shy of 2 hours away from Collinsville, Illinois, which is still considered the horseradish capital of the world.
Really?
Thanks to our Bavarian ancestors, they started that
Mhm.
I had no idea.
many moons ago.
It doesn't
Yeah.
grow in the south. It will not grow. That's a
Right.
wrong area. Mhm.
Wrong climate.
So
So
yeah.
why is it so hard to find it prepared? I don't find it easy. It's usually
Prepared?
hidden away somewhere.
Well, I mean, you can find a brand or two in the grocery stores, but locally, that's about it. There's probably 2 or 3 brands locally.
For me, it was the opposite. I couldn't find the fresh stuff. I had to buy a little jar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
So
that's what we're gonna use.
maybe not the best, but it'll do.
So where you want to be over there?
I'm gonna be over here because I'm gonna get our red cabbage going first.
All right.
And give me a shout out if you're actually cooking along with me. Oh, me and Flo and that.
We've
I'm
got at
cooking.
least 4 people cooking along.
Okay, making sure. So if I go too fast, stop me, ask me questions, please. Flo, hop in whenever you want. I know you and I decided we just would kind of tag team.
Yeah,
it.
I guess I'll hop in when the meat comes into play. I'm not so good with the old cabbage.
Are you fixing red cabbage? Or is mom fixing red cabbage?
Yeah, she did already slice it, so I have a head start here.
Oh, you got a head start. Okay, then I'll catch up to you. So easiest way to work with a head of cabbage, red, green, or otherwise, technically purple and white, but is you want to cut this end off. You don't have to, but I do to kind of keep it from wobbling a little bit more. You want a very sharp knife, heavy knife. And we're going to cut this in half. And Shirley's going to talk while I do it because I can't do it and talk at the same time.
So what am I going to talk about?
I don't care.
Oh,
Talk about our trip to Germany.
well, we went to Germany. What year was that?
2012. was the first one.
2012 was our first trip to Germany.
Yeah.
We were in Freiburg, Germany, for a week with International Society of Travel and Tourism Educators. We were there in November, wasn't it, or was it?
No,
It was
we were
October.
just right after October.
Yeah, it was right after Oktoberfest, but Flo was sponsoring a conference at his university at that time, so it was a good time. We had a little miniature Oktoberfest with a keg of the official Oktoberfest beer.
1 keg.
At least one, I don't know. I wasn't gonna say how many for sure. But we ended up having a really good time. We got a little inebriated, of course.
I mean, you didn't say how many people that 1 keg was for. It could have been 3.
3. About that.
That was
35.
probably about 50 or 60, so not too many.
Okay, so I have one cut in half.
And
We
corn.
want to take the core out of, I poured the first one while Chili was talking. I'm using this little bit smaller knife, but still very sharp. You want to cut in at an angle, start with the point of your knife and slice in at an angle. Because you can't pound cabbage on the counter and get the core out like you can lettuce. We're gonna do that on the other side. And if you lose a little bit, then you lose a little bit. Better that than your finger. And then I just kind of slice underneath.
But I thought the secret ingredients in all German food was blood.
No,
Nope. Then I missed a little bit, so I'm gonna cut in a little bit further. That's the easiest way to get the core out. Cut it in half and kind of angle your knife around in that middle. All right, so I'm gonna switch back to my big knife. Hey Flo, how did your mom slice her cabbage? I do really.
I have to ask her, to be honest.
She doesn't use blood, does she?
Aha, okay, I got the answer. So she uses a bread slicer, like a machine, you know, like where you put a loaf of bread and you make slices. And she
Okay.
makes it extreme, very, very thin. So not manually, but with a machine.
That's okay. So that's what I'm doing only by hand because I don't have a
Yeah.
fancy machine like mom does.
Yeah, hers is not that fancy, but it's efficient.
You actually around here, and those of you in the US may see these where you're located. You can find old like wooden cabbage slicers. Aunt Steph, what do we call those? Cabbage slicers?
Yep.
They look like mandolins, only they're like nearly as tall as I am. They're
That's
very
where they used to make sauerkraut with, and they call it a schnitzel machine.
Mhm.
Mhm.
we don't do any of it in enough, large enough batches for it. To come out at crop cutter, yeah.
Are we just doing half a head?
I'm gonna do the full head because I've got enough people to eat it, but yes, you could just do half the head if you wanna save the other half. And I'm doing this first to get it cooking because it takes a very long, it takes about 30 minutes to cook down to where I like it, but you can certainly cook it longer than that.
I thought this was a salad. You're saying cook it?
Yeah,
All right, then I need more space on my stove here. Got this big pot making tomato sauce, taking up most of the space.
My cutting board's not quite big enough. You put just a little bit of water.
That's what I asked someone from another country. What's the weirdest thing about America? And they're like, you put anything together and call it salad.
Oh, yes, we have
How many-
cookie salad
how many
and
cups? One?
one is plenty. Well, here's the next question for your mom. What does she put in her red cabbage?
Oh, she left the room, but as far as I know, there's always some apple going in there,
Okay,
little slices, and I think they kind of fall apart when you cook it. But it gives it a nice bit of a sweet taste, and I think usually that's what you do in our region anyway. And
Yeah.
also some onion, I think. I asked my dad, kommt da Zwiebeln rein in Rotkohl? Nur Äpfel. A little bit of onion maybe, but apple for sure.
so I usually do apple and onion. You can omit the
And onion, mom just says, and onion, yeah.
Grab me one, Shelley, grab one.
But you don't see any apple or onion when you eat. It's all gone. It's all diluted.
So I'm gonna cut up,
So I messed up when I thought it was apple cider vinegar, not an apple and vinegar.
That's what you do when you want to keep it red. Put apple cider vinegar in so it stays a red color and doesn't get dark.
We have apple cider vinegar too.
yeah, that's what I mean.
I meant I didn't have an apple.
The reason I asked Flo that is because I have recipes in some of my old German cookbooks that call for red wine and juniper berries, which I also have. But
Yeah, that sometimes you put some berries in there. I've seen that before.
yeah, different regions, different things.
I guess it's different. Also, the time of the year. So in winter we put like cinnamon in there. Mom just says a bit of cinnamon for like the Christmas time.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you have a
Clove.
goose on the go and you have that on the side.
And cloves go in there.
Yes.
Yeah,
Cloves.
so you get creative there.
Yeah.
People
So
are
we're-
saying they really like your production layout. You probably could teach me a thing or two.
So
Well, we're
we're
having
taking the
some,
cabbage, so we're taking the cabbage and we're putting it in a pan.
In a stock pot, Dutch oven, something along those lines. You need something big.
There we
Okay,
go.
and then what else?
We've got your apples on top.
Apples?
I've got a little bit of an onion going in, not much.
Onion.
Small onion.
Small onion.
Need the lid.
Now I need to wash my hands real fast. Please. Sometimes we put sugar in it, sometimes we don't. That just kind of depends on who I'm fixing it for. Not even.
Okay.
And I put cider.
If I
vinegar
don't have an apple,
in
can I
there.
put some applesauce? Because I've got a jar of applesauce.
Yeah, you could do that. It
Yeah,
gives
that
some
works.
sweetness. I put vinegar in as it starts, and I put vinegar in later. So I still have that vinegar bite to it.
How about if you don't have apple, put a little bit of sugar?
Yeah, if you want it a little sweeter, Americans like sweet things, and if you're not a cabbage lover, then the sugar kind of cuts the cabbage flavor a little bit.
Mhm.
All right. So we have all of that in Dutch oven. I had Chili put about a cup of water in the bottom just to keep it from scorching in cast iron. It will all cook down as the cabbage loses its moisture. In what is a very full pot right now will be about half a pot when it's all said and done, probably. So I will pause for,
Oh, Mom says she also adds some lard.
oh, and lard. Oh, yeah, duh, bacon grease. We can do that.
We have some of that.
She just said about on the size that you have cooking there, Nikki.
Yeah.
My mom says about one spoonful, like a proper spoon, a big one.
Big
Okay.
one.
But I guess it depends on how you like it.
I mean, like this big?
No, not like a normal scoop.
We
Hey,
did,
come on, whoa. Okay, give me a minute to find the bacon grease because I stuck it back up in the.
Yeah, it can be
We'll
that.
have it right
Just
next to
something that
the
adds some
stove.
fat.
Bacon grease is very.
I remember the first time. Well, no, I probably don't remember the first time I had bacon grease, but I remember being in a hostel in Germany, and they had this little bowl of, looked like congealed butter with
Mhm.
lots of black bits in it. Now it looked absolutely gross and horrifying.
Yeah.
And people were spreading it on their bread, and I was like, let me give it a try. And I was just like, all the burnt bits of bacon and leftover was poured into this.
Yeah, we can't see it really
Yeah,
well.
that's what you get often, yeah, depending on the region. And it's like we call it schmaltz, which is this large stuff, and you can make it from many animals, I guess. So it's nice you tasted that one. It doesn't look good, but it gets you through the winter if you want.
Sorry. It's a little bit like schmaltz too. That's kind of the same.
It is schmaltz, bacon
Yeah.
fat is schmaltz.
It is.
doesn't- Yeah.
Okay, that will cook
What-
down and we'll stir that up later. I'm gonna make noise.
Very
So,
good.
Yeah, I save all of the grease from my bacon when I fry it. Bacon grease, bacon fat.
Whenever I see a recipe that says pour it off, and they're like, they don't say save it, they say pour it off. I'm like,
You
don't
can
waste
keep it-
anything.
Keep it in a mason jar. And if you're in a warm climate, keep it in the refrigerator because it will go rancid if you don't use it fast enough.
Yeah.
My grandma always kept it in an old coffee tin sitting next to the stove, so it was always kind of melty. In the winter, I leave it sitting out because it won't go bad, but because it's not hot outside to worry about it. That already smells good. How's everybody doing?
Good, good. Ein Bier bitte. Na, du bist aus Bayern oder was? Aus welcher Gegend bist du? Ein Bier bitte.
I have no idea.
Flo, translate, please. Neither one of us speak German.
What area? Well, he has, when he speaks, he has a Bavarian accent.
Hmm.
So that is why I ask what area he is from.
Oh, Flo, yeah, Flo up there is from Germany. I'm not, so.
I'm the one who's from
Okay.
Hamburg.
Which one is it?
Ein Bier bitte is from Illinois.
From Illinois. And where's the one from Hamburg?
It's me,
I
the
didn't-
good-looking one, the one in black.
I don't think I see you at all.
Don't see me. Okay. Well, as a bit like Brad Pitt, this side.
I need to.
So when we're actually all physically together, I always take a photo of Flo and Chili standing next to one another. Because I swear they are related. There is some DNA crossover there
Somewhere,
because they look alike and they act alike.
Sounded like?
a little, not too much.
Not too much, but
Now I get see the north lights there. Okay, but okay, I can see it.
So you said now this cabbage you wanted just on really low.
yeah, I've got mine sitting on medium at the moment.
Okay, once it starts going, I guess.
Once it starts going, yeah.
Okay, so the cabbage, you've got cabbage, apples or applesauce, because that's what I had.
Yep.
Onions, a little bit of water.
Yep.
What else?
And,
Got apple cider vinegar.
Apple
Schmaltz.
cider vinegar?
I put about a 1/4 cup in to start and I'll put some more in as it cooks down. I'll put more in. It
Okay.
really, it honestly doesn't take
You give
long.
it a shake. Yeah,
Once it gets
mine
going.
settles.
There you go.
Raw and pasteurized, so the apple stuff settles to the bottom.
Oh, your applesauce.
Vinegar.
Mm. Okay. Are we good to go on?
All
Yep.
right.
Okay. Flo, how you doing, hon?
He's just waiting to cook the meat.
Let me tell you how many
Yeah.
steaks that man can put away in one sitting.
I got carried away with the meat. I bought a bit too much, but there you go.
That's okay.
Yeah.
We
So
don't mind.
Flo is for Florian or for what?
Yeah, genau.
Okay, Florian. That sounds better. The other one sounds like a flea.
Yeah, but every Florian is Flo here, normally.
Every Flo needs to itch, you mean?
Haha.
All right.
I prefer humble.
So I did the important thing. I thawed out the meat, which I've not
Good, that's a good start.
I've not done that before. I was just like, oh,
All right, so we're gonna have a bit of a lesson in what we get in the Midwest. And if Flo, if you've got one handy, I'll let you hold up one to the camera. We get pork cutlets.
Hold on.
yours is blurry, Flo.
Yeah, yours,
Think you're
that camera's not working right. It's not connecting.
Oh, my camera, okay. so I
here's
have-
mine.
This one working?
Mine's a pork chop.
Go that way. Yeah. Go over there.
My phone crapped out. Okay, so this is like palm size, or maybe the size of my hand. This has been run through a meat tenderizer, so we had this conversation this morning. Got the little, the holes in it from the little pokey meat tenderizer. I'm sure that has an official commercial name, but I don't know what it is. Normally when we buy these, we don't find them that way. They're solid and we have to pound them down pretty thin, which Chili Bean is gonna do because I've already done 5 of them today. So we went from that size to this size, about as thin as I could get without poking a hole in them. I'm gonna wash my hands as he's doing that. It's very noisy.
Yeah, that's what you normally do. You put them, you bang them hard or put them to a tenderizer so they go softer and thinner. They're usually pretty thin schnitzels, but you can cut them thin. So you normally buy it off a big piece and you cut them off.
So
Then you use that, yeah.
Chili's is like super thin compared to the ones I did this morning. So we have a really, really thin one, and then compared to the ones I did. Except for we've got one that's gonna fall apart on us too.
I don't want to understand.
So I have already done the 6 that I need for our meal today, so I will stop and wait if you guys need to do that process. I'm actually going to clean up. As we're kind of in a moment of pause. Food safety, kitchen safety, when I'm working with raw meat, even if I've got plastic down, like we just did, I'm always on a red cutting board. If I'm working with raw fish, I'm on a blue cutting board. If I'm working with cooked meat, I'm on a yellow cutting board. And when I'm cooking with or working with vegetables, I'm on a green cutting board. And that allows you to, it's color coordinated a little bit and allows you to, as much as you can, prevent cross-contamination.
Yeah, it's just
You
not.
need 2 bowls, right? One for eggs and one for the flour.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm double dredging, so I actually need 3 if you're gonna do that process.
Yeah, I got 3 as well here.
not wanting to work over there. so.
I have 3 lined up.
Okay.
How thin do we wheat these?
As
16
as possible, right?
Yeah, as thin as
Yeah,
possible.
Working on it.
I'm gonna try to restart. I've got a camera that just broke, so I'm gonna try to restart it while he's doing that.
So there's one. That's how thin that one is. And then. Here's how thin that one
Chilies are
is.
significantly thinner than mine.
So you pounded them that thin. That's why.
Yes,
Correct.
yes, because where we live, we can't buy them that thin.
Right.
It might, it's trying to connect. If not, we'll maneuver. This happens every now and then when we're running.
Well, we're also
Three
running
cameras in Zoom.
Yeah, run through Zoom. too,
Yeah,
so-
it's taxing on the computer.
Florian shows how it really should look. Yes, that's
Well,
right.
I'm not a super expert either, but I banged it hard on it. I put some foil on it, some
Yeah.
see-through foil, and then I banged it hard, and it also enlarged in size quite a bit. But to be honest, the lady in the shop should have cut it a bit thinner for me anyway. So I had to bang it hard.
Yeah, and that's the size it really should be, but when we buy them, it's the pork loin sliced straight down. It's not large enough to pan out quite that much.
That's why I did mine like I did mine.
Yeah, so we work with what we have.
And what do you use to pound it? Just one little wooden mallet?
I actually have a meat mallet.
Oh, that's different.
Yeah. And when you use this kind or the kind that has the handle on it, that's got the tenderizer on one side and the flat on the other, I'm gonna start in the middle and drag it to the edge. It'd get flatter faster.
And
Yeah.
spin your wrist.
Yeah, I've only seen the hammer where it has like waffle on one side and flat on the other.
Yeah,
Now,
this is actually easier for me to use.
Florian has a right one. He has a Kartoffelstampfer. is
I got an
that-
old school one because I couldn't
Yeah,
find
old
the
school.
one that you just mentioned with the two different sizes. I couldn't find it. So I'm using what I have.
And I'm just
Right.
using my rolling pin.
Yeah, that works too.
Yes. Or the back of a cast iron skillet. I actually want to be able to see.
Mm.
No, we're gonna end up freezing everything.
I've used the wine bottle before.
Nope.
All right, I'm gonna punt a little bit here and move over this direction so they can see what I'm doing. Otherwise, I gotta move the camera forward. Okay, I'm gonna get my cutting board out of the way. Set up my dredging station, so hopefully you guys can see.
Yeah, you'll have to give me tidbits on how to process the big root. Because I've never actually done that.
All right, so in the middle, I'm gonna do 2
No,
eggs. I've
we
got-
need three bowls then?
If you want to double dredge, otherwise you only need 2.
Okay.
And I've got 6 schnitzels, 6 pork cutlets that I'm working with, so I'm gonna do 2 eggs.
My eggs are teeny, so I'm gonna do 3.
I always add a little bit of water to mine. So they're a little bit thinner. Okay, you do that. And I'm double dredging, so flour first, egg wash, breadcrumbs. If you're only doing one, honestly, you really only need 1 bowl of either flour or breadcrumbs for what we're doing today. But I like the double dredge because it's a little bit crunchier in the long run.
Do you know what do you call it? A crunchy gluten-free version?
No.
Cornstarch. You would, I mean, no breadcrumbs clearly, but cornstarch would be the best option there. But it's gonna take a lot of cornstarch to do it.
It won't get the right crisp and the right taste. I
No.
put the breadcrumbs together with flour and then put salt and pepper in it and paprika. So the crumbs already has a decent taste.
Crunchy or plain?
Let's
Crunchy.
see, you probably should start heating the pan.
Yeah, if you don't have oil already going, now's a good time, which I need to do that myself. I'm gonna use panko breadcrumbs because Chili just told me to use panko breadcrumbs. But you don't have to, plain old breadcrumbs would be fine too.
Do you think because I have the horseradish powder, just add it to the flour?
No.
No.
Okay.
Not yet. Okay. I mean, you could add it to, like you do salt. I'm gonna salt all 3. Salt every stage.
So we have one that has egg, one that has flour, one that has breadcrumbs.
Right,
Yes.
so we're gonna go flour, egg, breadcrumb. Would you pour that one in and then part of the other one? I have white pepper.
That's my setup too. I got the similar bowls here, but I can't show on the camera as good as Nikki can with her professional equipment.
I love
And
white
her,
pepper.
and her great assistant.
There you go.
Yeah.
My sponsor behind me. And if I run out of something, I'll just replay. All right, don't hand me that, the one that you just. I have a very wide frying pan here, so I can probably do 3 at a time, but work in batches if you don't. I reuse my oil when I fry it if it's still mostly clean. I'll strain it so all of the
Gets,
gunk, I don't know what else you want to call that, comes out of it and all the bits from frying, and then I'll keep the cleaner oil. I put it right back in the jug of oil, I mark it, and I use it 2 or 3 times until it's done. And then I throw the entire bottle in the trash, so I don't have to worry about where to put the oil.
How deep do you make this oil?
we're 1/4 inch.
In my pan, I'm about 1/4 inch, yeah. It's not quite enough. I mean, we're not deep frying, we're pan frying, so you just want to be able to fry the bottom and flip. All right, so I'm set up here. I'm moving this out of the way. I'm doing things a little
There you go.
helter skelter here. I might have to do that back here. I'm not sure I can do it all.
Yeah, sure.
Right there in the. Yeah. We'll do this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tilt the camera. I don't need that yet.
There we go.
Okay, I don't need that yet.
Okay.
So the Munich style schnitzel, if we were doing just regular schnitzel, we'd be ready to dredge and fry at this point. The Munich style is mustard, at least the recipes I've seen are mustard on one side, horseradish on the other, and then dredged and fried. So I have the one and only Bavarian mustard I can find where I live, and prepared horseradish. Sorry, there. I forget what camera I'm on here.
Little bit further.
There we go. Yeah, you guys can't see that much, but so those are the 2 brands that I'm using. I'm gonna do mustard on one side first, and then we'll do horseradish on the other. You can also mix the horseradish with a little cream or maybe sour cream if you didn't want the full heat of the horseradish. My producer is moving me around, so we make sure you guys can mostly see what I'm doing. Thank you. Sponsor, producer, cameraman.
I do it all.
Soulmate. Soulmate. That is no lie. All right. So notice that I didn't touch the meat and start smearing until I had mustard on all of them. You don't want to put the raw meat spoon back in the mustard container. Actually, I'm gonna shift gears just a little bit
Brush.
and get a brush out.
Start up, there you go.
So mustard on one side, horseradish on the other.
Correct.
Yep. And I'm using a sweet Bavarian mustard, you know, use whatever mustard you have or can get or like.
So maybe just a word to the mustard. So this one that Nikki is using and the one that I have, just a different brand, but they are usually the ones you use for the Weisswurst, for the cooked or boiled white sausage that people in Bavaria eat usually before or around lunchtime, but no later than I think 12 o'clock. It's like a breakfast sausage. And you might have seen it. It looks a bit funny, but it always comes with the sweet mustard, not the hot mustard, the sweet one.
Yeah, this is like my favorite. I'm not a yellow American mustard fan.
I am.
Yeah, he is. It's just too vinegary for me.
I think that's why.
I tend to not like vinegar, period. The cheap white vinegar stuff, you know, if it's got good vinegar in it, I don't mind it.
All right, so we've got mustard on one side.
There is that.
Thank you.
Lulu, how you doing? Keeping up?
how's everybody doing? I might need another drink. Shall we
So
go?
ironically, I have all the ingredients. I have my meat pounded and all that, but I'm also babysitting. So the baby just went down, and I'm actually clean. I'm at my daughter and son-in-law's house. So I'm actually cleaning the kitchen so I could start cooking.
Lulu, thank you for logging in from babysitting. That's
Right.
like- yeah, it's like,
So this next one, we're gonna kind of go one at a time here, since I'm maneuvering cameras a bit. So on the other side, we're going to put horseradish. And Flo and I are both using what we call here in the States prepared horseradish. It's already been ground, vinegar's been added to it, so the vinegar cuts the heat from the horseradish a bit. Not a huge amount, but it also doesn't sting your eyeballs when you're working with it.
come on, that's the best part.
Oh, yeah, I have prepared my own horseradish like twice. And it's like working with really hot peppers. You have to be really careful.
I wear a N95 mask, goggles, gloves. And then I remember to not go to the bathroom in the middle because sometimes.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
Any stretch. And if you have any cuts on your hands, make sure you're wearing plenty of gloves.
I mean, even wearing the gloves, like stuff gets somewhere.
But prepared horseradish isn't anywhere near that hard to work with. All right, I have oil that's heated up. Trick of the trade: if you have a wooden spoon and you want to check for the doneness on your oil, take the back of the wooden spoon, stick it in the oil, and if it starts to bubble a little bit, your oil is hot enough to use.
Oh, I like that better than putting the drop of water in there that splatters everywhere.
Yeah, water's a little bit more dangerous than I care to worry about on the oil. So I'm gonna let this go just a little bit longer, but we'll go ahead and get one of these started. And I'm using my hands. Use tongs if you want to. Then I'm gonna totally cheat because I don't have a lot of room here. I'm gonna put this in the flour and then put the horseradish on top. Because I don't have a lot of room to work with it.
So where do you put the horseradish?
On the other side from the
On
mustard.
the other side from the mustards.
Really?
One side mustard, one side horseradish, and then you dip it in the
Flour.
flour,
Then we're putting it in flour. Keep one.
then
dry
the egg, and
on
then
one
the
hand.
bread.
If you start mixing dry and wet on the same hand, you're gonna
Regret
glue
it.
together. You'll make glue. So we're gonna dredge the mustard side. Press it down, dredge the horseradish side. Make sure you're good and coated. I'm gonna hand that off to you. I'm gonna do the egg side with the wet hand.
Panko.
Those are in the way. And panko, which I'm already gonna need more of, I can tell. And just kind of press it down a little bit if you need to. And chili, I need another pan out of here, please. I need this thing, sorry. And don't put them all in the frying pan at one, or one at a time. We're gonna hold these on a rack so they can go in a batch at a time. That way everything cooks at the same rate.
But I mean, because they're so thin, they cook really fast too.
They cook really fast.
It's very easy to overcook them.
Oh yeah, if you don't watch them. Hang out with them.
So how do you tell they're cooked?
Like 2 minutes tops on each side.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna do
One thing that's always a good sign is if you see the breadcrumbs going a bit like in wave, then you know you gotta take them out. When it's like a wavery kind of surface.
And you're really just frying to kind of a golden brown. And if it starts to get golden black, you're going too far. All right, so I'm dredging number 2. And I'm gonna work in a batch of 3. So I've got 2 batches. And with Chili in the kitchen with me, it's a little bit easier to do that.
I have a question I ask anybody anytime they have the egg drench. Do you mix that all together at the end and don't waste it, make a little bread? Or do you throw it all
I
away?
mean, if you want to get sick, sure.
Well, I mean, if you cook it,
I don't know that I would risk it with raw meat in it.
But you know what? Some of the restaurants that do like schnitzel all the time and sell a lot of schnitzels here, they always have omelette on the menu. So I wonder why.
Wonder.
Yeah.
but I mean, if you're frying the meat, why would frying the bread be any different?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. All up to what you want to try. What you can do, like with leftover flour, if you're making a gravy.
Oh, that cabbage is cooked about halfway down already. Let me mix it.
Check on this.
But yeah, Chili's gonna check on the red cabbage and see how we're doing. And it's already down to about, it's lost about a third of its size, volume. Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, so I'm on number 3. The other thing that resting these does is lets the coating just really adhere to the pork. Same process if you wanted to do chicken, beef minute steaks, exact same process. Probably gonna need
Of
another
course,
egg.
when I was in Israel in May, they still had schnitzel, but it was all made from chicken.
Yeah. Right, we're gonna let those rest on there. I'm gonna wash my hands because I broke my own roll
I saw that.
and now I have glue.
Get you another egg.
We're gonna throw another egg in the egg wash. I'm gonna turn my heat down because I can kind of smell it going. I'm gonna set up another egg and then I'll throw these in the fryer. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah, the cabbage I ended up turning down to almost nothing because it was boiling away so much.
Yeah, if you get an eggshell, by the way, in anything that you've cracked an egg in, use half of the shell to get the eggshell out.
Oh, it's so much easier. Yeah.
Shell attracts shell.
It's just like,
It will happen to you at least once in your lifetime. Or once a month in my house. All right, I'm gonna drop these first 3 down because Chili's mixing me up there. I'm grabbing a second pair of tongs. I don't want to use the same tongs that I'm using in the cabbage. I do not, however, color coordinate my tongs. I don't know if you guys can hear
so I
that.
heard pork was the worst one as far as cross contamination, but chicken's catching up nowadays.
Well, and pork these days, you know, we're processing pork quite a bit differently than we used to. So even the temperature controls have come down a little bit from the USDA. Thank you. All right, so I'm gonna let these put. All right, I'm using the end of my horseradish in this jar, so I'm sticking my raw meat spoon back in it. I didn't have a lot left anyway. All right. Really needs warm. Need another. I need another rack. The other thing I'm going to do, since I have 6 of these, is when I pull them out, they're going back on a rack. I'm going to sit in a quasi-warm oven. This
Would
so I
you
can hold
save
them
them
warm.
till you serve them, you mean?
Yeah, so I serve them.
I mean, if you served them right away, no problem. You have that oil at the highest temperature?
No,
I'm on medium low.
It looks,
How you doing, Flo? I can like see him in the background barely.
I said pop-up cooking too. Or?
yeah, pop is there.
Yeah.
There's flowing.
All right, so I'm not even 2 minutes in and I'm already flipping. Because I'm starting to get a golden crust around the edges.
Oh, that looks good.
Be careful when you flip, especially if you have a full pan. And if you reuse your oil, let it cool down completely before you try to strain it and pour it back into a container. Like totally completely. I'm gonna let these finish before I judge the other ones because I'm known to burn things when I get preoccupied. I don't want to do that. My internet connection is unstable. That's not good.
Hopefully it's okay. Everybody's there.
Hope so. I can hear them.
Yeah, we can hear something back there.
If you do want to temp these, you want about 145 in the middle. Or over there. Easily. All right, that's one coming out. Woo. You hold this please, because I need to hold the pan so I don't wash it on the floor. And I put them on a wire rack so the grease will strain off. That's number one. All right, we're gonna do batch number 2 now. Put them back on us. Sorry.
There we go.
How's everybody doing?
Has everybody got a batch out?
I think so.
I've got just one that is in the pan right now.
Okay,
Okay.
perfect. All right, I'm gonna do these others. And you can go as light or heavy on the mustard and horseradish as you want. Get warm in my kitchen. All right. Schnitzel number, what was that for?
So my dad and me just decided that the first one we just gonna eat on the fly, and then we have enough for later.
There you go.
Little snack. It's already 9 o'clock
Yeah.
here PM, so we gotta have some food.
That's usually what happens in my house.
Also here, yeah. Just if you see us eating away, it's just because we can't wait, and we have enough.
Yeah.
Right, there's mine, and I do need more.
Okay.
Because- So, Flo, do you guys fry zucchini, like slice zucchini and fry it, or yellow squash?
No, that's more the Greeks, not us. Well, I guess you do it if you cook a little bit Mediterranean style, but not traditionally, no.
We do that around here, and I go through probably 12 yellow squash at a time because it gets eaten right out of the frying pan before we ever sit down at the table.
Only about half of it makes it to the table.
What happened to her?
There's no telling.
That was my little sugar bear dog doing something she wasn't supposed to.
Got a tail top.
Did she get it from that fan?
I don't know what she did.
Okay, well, we don't know what the dog did, but whatever she did, it was comical. It hurt. It hurt, that's for
She
sure.
ran after doing it.
All right, we're almost
All
done.
of the panko.
We're gonna make it work then, if that's all of panko.
It is.
All right, 2. Got 1 left. I will have to say that schnitzel is probably one of my favorite. It's kind of.
Chili, don't forget the beer, Chili.
What?
Don't forget the beer.
Oh, we've got beer.
Okay, good.
We have plenty. We never forget beer. Not around you.
Mm-mm.
Although I will have to say, I can't keep up like I used to. That last trip to Germany, when we were in Cologne, whew, that was almost more than I could handle.
I'll still never forget the time we were in Heidelberg and someone ordered Das Boot, which is a glass boot with 5 liters of beer in it.
Woo. Yeah, I don't think I could do that.
It was a group of people, and we still didn't finish it.
Yeah.
All right, I am on the end of my bread.
Forget how much, I want to say we had to pay 75 euros in deposit in case we broke the beer. The boot.
I'm gonna have to supplement my last one with a little bit of regular breadcrumbs.
What's the difference?
We didn't quite make it. 20. All right.
You know what's the difference between panko
Okay.
and regular breadcrumbs? No.
As far as size and shape, regular breadcrumbs are ground finer. And to be honest, either would work for this particular recipe. All right. Egg wash can go down the sink. Flour and breadcrumbs, if you have it left over, cannot, or they will gum up your pipes.
They might gum up your pipes anyway, just after you eat them.
Kind of like. That's why we drink beer.
Right.
Oh,
the
you're
truth.
killing me. All right. Batch number 2 going in. We're going to check the cabbage. Oh, geez. I gotta tell you, my kitchen smells pretty darn good right now.
Yep.
That one's, you. That was yours.
I know.
You pounded that sucker out.
I know.
And when we serve these, we're gonna serve them with lemon slices. And I will tell you that Jaeger schnitzel is my favorite, but my husband does not like mushrooms, so
No.
I don't get it much. So we don't want to wash that. We can talk while we're. Can I answer any questions? Thanks. Oh.
What? No.
Thank you, because I don't want to.
Is it?
All right, so here's a lesson. When you're cooking cabbage, make sure you stir it more frequently than we did. Don't, stop, you're gonna run it all the way through. And if you scorch the bottom, pull out the top into another pan and start over.
Get that out of the way.
Nope. And then you want to put water in your sports pot real fast, because otherwise you'll burn it off. Well, I mean, what happens?
It happened live on YouTube.
Anything can happen on live TV.
We might actually
Whatever.
enjoy
Yeah,
ourselves.
It's well, and you know, lessons learned. Anything can go wrong in the kitchen.
I think I like what that about both of our shows is we're not like, here, it takes 3 minutes to bake this turkey.
Right. Right. I'm gonna taste the cabbage and make sure I didn't totally botch it here, or I'll be starting over again.
So Chef Nikki, as you're doing that, can you just slowly go through the process of what went in there and the order, quantity, etc.?
Mm-hmm. On the cabbage, so the order that I put it in is probably not the order it should have gone in. So bacon grease or lard would go in first with onions. I would caramelize onions. I didn't do that today. The shredded cabbage on top of it, apple, about a cup of water to start it, and a quarter cup of cider vinegar, a little bit of sugar if you want it, not if you don't, and more cider vinegar as you're going through, because it's all gonna, the liquid's gonna evaporate, which is what happened here, and I scorched the bottom of the pot. Stir it frequently. Yeah.
It's hot.
Okay, so now we're just waiting on batch number 2 of the schnitzel.
Because I've already flipped those.
Oh, this cabbage looks beautiful. Usually when I cook purple cabbage, it gets the purple disappears.
Yeah, that's because of the acid in it. Once you put acid in it, it stays purple.
Yep.
There you go.
I'm gonna put a little salt. in
And
it.
I also think because I didn't put like absolutely tons of water,
I put a little salt
Usually,
and pepper in mine
I
too.
tend to overboil cabbage.
Yeah, but still, once you overboil it, you put vinegar to it or citric or something, then it turns again purple.
And I'm gonna add just a pinch of sugar, because it's a little on the tart side. Huh? These are just about done.
This looks so yummy.
For the cabbage, does it matter what kind of onion?
No, I would use a white, a yellow or a sweet onion as opposed to a red onion, but. Well, put that so that browns a little bit more. On the edge of the pan.
Mhm.
So the larger your pan, I'm kind of running into this right now, but you want to use a pan that's the right size for the burner you're using. And I have a really wide 15-inch frying pan. So things that sit along the edge don't get as brown because they're further away from the center of the heat. So this last little one, I'm just putting on the middle of the pan.
Just for a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Sorry to keep going back to the cabbage, but how would you cut your onions, like in rings?
I have the onion and then slice it.
My mom would just throw the onion in. I mean, of
Yeah.
course, take the skin off and then throw it in, but she would cook it like for a long time anyway, and then it's gone. But she would cook it longer, she said. So she probably cooks it and then she lets it stay, and then in the evening she heats it up again, cooks it again. And her wisdom is that, you know, if you do it a couple or 3 times, it's gonna taste all a bit more juicy and nicer. But we don't have the time for that now. We're hungry.
Yeah, you're late. You're after 9 o'clock right now, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm almost bedtime, so I gotta eat.
Yeah.
Yes, because you have to work tomorrow.
Monday morning. But Dad and me just had the first schnitzel. We ate it like this without the cabbage and everything. So we're okay-ish for the moment.
Come here.
And then we
Mike.
join everybody else with the rest.
All right, I'm gonna plate one up so you can kind of see what we're working with here. Flo, what else would you serve with this? What kind of potato? You didn't hear me.
Hey, Flo, what kind of potato would you serve with this?
Oh, good question. Well, normally I would always prefer fried potatoes, like potatoes that you first boil, then so you take the skin off, you boil them, then you slice them, and then you fry up some onions and some bacon bits, and then you fry them golden. And you can use normal oil, but ideally you would use some lard or something. It's high calories, but it's perfect.
Yes.
Or I mean, nowadays you get a lot of like French fries with it, but traditionally it would be proper fried potatoes. But you can have any kind of potatoes, or potato salad would be good too, like a nice potato salad with it. That's often an option as well.
So I don't know if you can hear my peanut gallery in here. They're giving you a virtual high five. Because that's one of the things that's very, very much the same between us here in the Midwest and where you're at is the fried potato and onions. We all here grew up on that.
Yeah,
For breakfast, lunch, dinner, didn't matter.
yeah,
And usually for breakfast, it was with bacon and eggs. on the side,
Yeah.
but, or fried bologna. We do fried bologna.
What's bologna? Help me there. What's bologna?
Similar to your, help me out.
The sausage?
Lowercase, maybe? Yeah.
It's pepperoni without spice.
Ah, okay. Okay.
Yeah. Think along the lines of of liver sausage, but we make it here out of beef and not pork.
All right, so we wouldn't have that, but that sounds,
Yeah,
it sounds
it
good too. It
probably
sounds good.
Your liver cheese that has neither in it.
Bologna.
Ah, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I know that. Yeah.
Let's see.
Okay.
Oh, potato salad. How does your mom make potato salad?
Well, there's two versions. So the one that would be best probably with this one, because it's a Munich style, or we call it the old Bavarian schnitzel. This one we do today with a horseradish. So for this one, you would have the southern one, which is usually served a little bit warm, a little not hot, but warm. And it's done with a vinegar, mustard, and it's also kind of sitting for a long time, and it's being, you don't just do it for now, you prepare it like for today, for tomorrow, and then it gets really, I don't know what's the word, it's like succulent or like juicy.
Mhm.
And the one we do in the north, we open a jar of mayonnaise and we put the potato slices in, and then we give it a good whack and maybe some spring onions, and that's it, and we serve it cold from the fridge. So, two different versions. We do the easy one here, but the other one you do like, the other one is better from Bavaria. It's really yellow, like yellowish with vinegar and oil.
We agree. It's the great debate in America. What is German potato salad? Because what we call German potato salad is your Bavarian style that you were talking about. But we have both too.
Yeah.
Well, I was
and
thinking
to be
that you
honest,
put bacon, in it.
Yes.
you can
crisp
put
bacon
bacon
or
bits in
something.
it. Yeah, correct. My dad does a really good potato salad. He has his own version. He puts some gherkin, little pieces of gherkin slices in too. But oh, you got a first plate ready. Damn. I gotta do another schnitzel now.
We
So
do.
quite-
Oh, you didn't need a knife.
So question, which version of the salad has the vinegar in it and the mustard?
And that's it.
That's
That's
the
the
Bavarian.
Bavarian one with the oil, vinegar, and a bit of mustard. Yeah.
You have to get the Bavarian one for
and
them.
the onions.
And the onions.
Yeah.
And
'cause
onions,
of
yeah.
the Onions.
You mean green onion?
No, white onions. She
Yellow
chopped
onions?
White or yellow.
So Bavarian for the vinegar and the onions.
I guess Nikki, if you could do a picture of one of the plates.
This is so yummy.
Over
We bit into it already. Sorry.
There's
So
mine.
add some fried potatoes to that, and you're golden.
Ooh.
No pun intended. That's so good.
In about an hour, I'll be eating.
Yep, there's mine.
Yeah.
Yay.
Oh, it looks good.
Perfect.
It's so yummy. Oh my God.
Just minimize that.
So good. Mm.
And this is like perfect wintertime. We were 80 degrees last week. And we're right now at 39. We were at 23 yesterday morning. We've gone from warm summertime to cold
winter time.
inside of about 4 days.
Yep. Same with us. I live up in Minneapolis. On Wednesday, it was 60, no, Wednesday morning, it was 66, and by the evening, it was 29 Fahrenheit.
Mm.
What is that from like
I'm gonna wrap up.
17 to -1 Celsius?
Goodness.
So you're eating the horseradish with the schnitzel.
You can add more to it if you want to, yeah. We love horseradish around here, so
Yeah, I do too. Yeah.
I'm getting ready to lose chilies and go eat.
No,
All right.
You're warm. You can tell. Gotcha.
All right, do we have any wrap-up questions or wrap-up comments? It's like,
Yeah, any other questions? Any other,
I'm in Germany. How often do you have this meal? Is it
Oh,
just?
this is a standard issue. Well, not this one, sorry. The one with the today with the mustard and the horseradish. That is something you would not get where I am. People would not know it in the north. So it's really like a Bavarian one. I know it from holidays. So I guess it's on the menu in some restaurants, not in everyone. The normal schnitzel is everywhere. It's in your face, also here in the north. That's a standard one. If you don't know what to get, you get a schnitzel. But this one with the horseradish and the mustard, I'd say you wouldn't have it so often. It's maybe, I don't know how oftentimes people have it, but it's a more special thing.
I would have it like on a weekly basis. Because it's just that good. It's so good. And the double dredge it just wow. I don't hardly even know how to describe it. It's so good. So all thanks to Flo for sending me a documentary on Oktoberfest that was in German. And I had to pick through and find the words that I knew, but thankfully I could watch what was going on.
And then those things that you knew, you put it on two t-shirts, a blue one and a red one, yeah?
No, actually we bought these
I like him.
in Iowa. We were up there on vacation in large German communities. And where were we? Amanda Colonies in Iowa. And it's,
Oh yeah, I've been there. It's like really old school.
yeah, sorry, right outside of Cedar Rapids.
Mhm.
German settled, but German Mennonite from Pennsylvania
Mhm.
settled. But we had schnitzel there too. Just a different
It's
time.
really never like changed. The town is like the same.
it's- no.
Ages ago.
How you doing, Flo?
Yeah, I'm just flipping I'm doing them on the fly. I haven't put them in the oven. The oven wasn't hot, so I didn't do it. So I'm doing them on the fly. So we're doing all right. We get the next one coming in a minute, and we have some cabbage with it now too. The first one we had without cabbage.
So when you say in the oven, do you like bake them sometimes or?
No, just to keep warm,
Keep it
right?
warm
Oh, okay.
when
So
you're
you just have to
working.
make each one fresh. You're not like letting them sit
Yeah,
around.
you're right. No, you're right. You want do them fresh. That's what you want. Yeah.
If they sit around, the
Yeah.
crispiness on the outside goes soft real quick.
Yeah, you're right. You really
Exactly.
ideally you wanna eat them quick.
So in other words, I wouldn't make these for a big dinner party necessarily. We have done these down at the Elks Lodge, but we've done them in small batches and gotten them out on the buffet table like a little at a time. I
Oh,
don't
that's-
recommend that
that's
for
a
a large
lot.
crowd, but they're good. They're so good.
All right.
Right.
Anybody have any final questions? And otherwise,
What you want to talk about tomorrow night?
Yeah, tomorrow night, if you guys want to hang out with us on Monday night, we're doing
every Monday night, yeah.
6:30 Central Time. Tomorrow night, we are exploring South Dakota, so we're doing fry bread.
Indian tacos.
And
Like some-
what we call Indian tacos. And there are various versions of fry bread is very much a Native American food. But there are various versions depending on what tribe and what reservation it came from originally. Very much part of their culture, but also very much part of a dark history in our country. But we're gonna explore that. It is utterly delicious, and we're gonna pile it high with
Roosevelt.
taco fixings because that's a common way to eat them. And the drink is a Roosevelt. That's your territory though.
Okay.
Oh, you
So
don't have mic on.
Let me wrap up the recording here and then we'll sit around and eat and
Sure.
drink.
I do have one question about the schnitzel.
Sure.
If I am very shy on breadcrumbs and no bread to make breadcrumbs with, could I do crumbled up Ritz crackers or saltine crackers? Like I'm like
Yeah.
really.
Crumbled Ritz, like put them in a Ziploc bag and smash them with a mallet or rolling pin or something. So they're fine, but yeah, that would work.
Okay.
And even if you had like cornflake cereal would work too. You just have
Without sugar, I'm sure.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. But
Mhm.
if you had that on hand,
Okay, great. Thank you.
for sure. And I've even used like, I wouldn't do this for schnitzel, but I've used like crushed up corn chips. Sometimes I save the bottom of the bag of the chips, yeah. To do fun things with.
Fritos.
Fritos, yeah, absolutely. So,
Excellent. Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you.
So much. I'm gonna. All right.